The waiter looked Kim Young directly in the eyes. It was a mistake that would cost everyone their jobs. Young's fist slammed against the table. The wine glasses shook. The entire restaurant went silent. His 4 bodyguards stood up at the same time, hands moving toward their guns. The manager started sweating. The other waiters backed against the walls. "You dare look at me?" Young's voice was quiet, but everyone heard the danger in it. The tattoos on his neck seemed darker when he was angry. "You think you're equal to me?" The waiter, a young man named David, turned white. "Sir, I didn't mean." "Get out." Young stood up. He was tall, heavily built, wearing an expensive black suit. "All of you, this restaurant is finished." He pulled out his phone and made a call. Everyone could hear him speaking in another language to someone. When he hung up, he looked at the manager. "My lawyer is buying this building tomorrow morning. Then I'm tearing it down. You're all fired." The manager fell to his knees. "Please, Mr. Kim, we have families, we need these jobs." Young ignored him. He turned and walked toward the exit. His bodyguards formed a wall around him. It was over. The restaurant would close. 30 people would lose their jobs. Then a red-haired waitress stepped in front of him. Her name was Anna Hartley. She had been working there for only 4 weeks. She was quiet, never caused problems, barely spoke to anyone. Most people didn't even notice her. But now she stood directly in Young's path, close enough to touch him, close enough to see the flower tattoos on his throat. Young's lead bodyguard reached for his gun. "Move," he said. Anna didn't move. She looked up at Young and spoke in a language no one in the room understood. It was Korean, but not normal Korean. It was old, very old, a dialect from Jeju Island that almost nobody spoke anymore. She said an ancient proverb about deep water making no sound and noble people using few words. Young stopped walking. His hand froze in the air. He stared at Anna like he had seen a ghost. "What did you say?" His voice had changed. He sounded shocked, almost scared. Anna repeated the proverb in English. "It means, when water is deep, it makes no sound. When a person is noble, they use few words. It's from Jeju Island." "Where did you learn that?" Young took a step closer to her. His bodyguards looked confused. "From an old woman I took care of," Anna said. "She only spoke that dialect. She had no family. She told me stories about the sea and the black rocks of Jeju." Young's face changed. "This woman, did she have a scar right here?" He touched the left side of his jaw. Anna's eyes widened. "Yes, from a fishing accident when she was young." The restaurant disappeared. The manager, the waiters, the other customers, none of them existed anymore. There was only Young and Anna and the impossible thing she had just said. Young spoke again in the old Jeju dialect, asking for the woman's name. Anna answered in the same ancient language. She said a name that Young hadn't heard in 20 years, a name he thought he would never hear again. His mother's name. The woman, everyone told him, was dead. Young grabbed Anna's arm, not violently but firmly. "You're coming with me right now." "Wait, what? I can't just leave." "You know where she is." Young's voice shook. "The woman who taught you, you know where my mother is." Anna looked into his eyes and saw something she didn't expect. Not anger, not violence. Pain, raw, deep pain that had been buried for 2 decades. I don't know if she's your mother," Anna said carefully, "but I know where she lived. I can take you there." Young turned to his bodyguards. "Clear the restaurant. Pay the manager enough to cover 6 months of salaries for everyone. We're leaving." He looked back at Anna. "If you're lying to me, you won't live to regret it, but if you're telling the truth..." He paused. "If my mother is alive, someone has been lying to me for 20 years, and that person is going to wish they were dead." Anna nodded slowly. She didn't understand what was happening. She had just wanted to save the restaurant. Now she was being pulled into something much bigger, something dangerous. But she couldn't stop now. Because if that old woman really was Young's mother, then Anna had accidentally uncovered a secret that someone had killed to protect. And in Young's world, secrets like that didn't stay buried for long. Welcome to our channel. Before we reveal who hid Young's mother and why, tell us, Where are you watching from? If you believe that family comes before everything else, hit that like button and subscribe right now. Jung's car was black, sleek, and smelled like leather and danger. Anna sat in the back seat between two bodyguards who hadn't said a word since they left the restaurant. Jung sat in front, staring straight ahead, his jaw tight. They drove for 20 minutes into the poorest part of the city. The buildings got older. The streets got darker. Trash piled up on corners. This was where people came when they had nowhere else to go. "Stop here," Anna said quietly. The car pulled over in front of a crumbling apartment building. The paint was peeling. Several windows were broken and covered with cardboard. A drunk man slept in the doorway. Jung looked at the building, then at Anna. "My mother lived here." "A woman lived here," Anna corrected. "I don't know if she was your mother." They got out of the car. Jung's bodyguards immediately formed a circle around him, scanning the dark street for threats. Anna led them inside. The elevator was broken, so they climbed the stairs. The walls were covered in graffiti. It smelled like mold and old cooking oil. On the 4th floor, Anna stopped in front of apartment 4C. The door was old and scratched. Someone had tried to kick it in once, and the wood was cracked near the lock. "She lived here for 3 years, Anna said. "I met her at the community center where I volunteered. She was alone, very sick, no money for medicine. I started bringing her food, helping her with errands." Jung stared at the door like it might explode. "When?" "I met her 2 years ago. She died 6 months ago." Something in Jung's face broke, just for a second, then he put it back together. "What did she look like?" Anna closed her eyes, remembering. "Small, very thin. She had white hair she kept in a bun. Brown eyes, the scar on her jaw like you said. Her hands were rough, like she'd worked hard her whole life. She always smelled like the sea, even though we're nowhere near the ocean." Jung's hand was shaking. He made a fist to stop it. "What was her name?" "She told me her name was Mrs. Song. But sometimes, when she was falling asleep, she would whisper another name. A name from the island. I never asked her about it because it seemed to make her sad." "What name?" Jung's voice was barely a whisper. Anna hesitated. "Kim Hae-jin." Jung turned away. His shoulders were shaking. One of his bodyguards stepped forward, concerned, but Jung waved him back. When he turned around again, his eyes were red. "That was my mother's name," he said. "Kim Hae-jin. She died 20 years ago, at least that's what they told me. My father said she got sick. Pneumonia. She died in the hospital. I was 12 years old. I wasn't allowed to see her body. They said it would traumatize me. They cremated her immediately. No funeral, no grave, nothing." Anna felt something cold settle in her stomach. "Who told you this?" "My father and his second in command, a man named Choi." "Did you believe them?" Jung laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I was 12. What choice did I have? My father showed me the death certificate, the cremation papers, everything looked official." He paused. "But I never understood why I couldn't say goodbye, why there was no funeral. In our culture, funerals are everything, we honor the dead, but my mother just disappeared." He looked at the apartment door again. "Why would she live here, in this place? If she was alive, why didn't she come back to me?" "I don't know," Anna said softly, "but she talked about you, not by name, she called you my son. She said she had a son who was strong and smart. She said she hoped he forgave her someday." "Forgave her for what?" "She never said, but she cried when she talked about you, every single time." Jung reached for the door handle, then stopped. "Does anyone still live here?" "No, after she died, I paid the rent for 2 more months, hopping to find her family. But I never did. The landlord probably rented it out by now." Jung nodded to one of his bodyguards. The man pulled out a lock-pick and had the door open in 10 seconds. The apartment was exactly as Anna remembered. One small room, a mattress on the floor, a hot plate in the corner, a tiny bathroom with a cracked sink. On the walls were pictures cut from magazines. All of them were of Jeju Island, the black volcanic rocks. The women divers in their wetsuits, the ocean. Jung walked to the center of the room and stood there, looking around. His hands were in fists again. Anna went to the small closet and pulled out a box. She left this. I couldn't throw it away. Jung took the box. Inside were a few pieces of clothing, all old and worn, a book of poetry in the Jeju dialect, and at the bottom, a photograph. Jung lifted the photograph with shaking hands. It showed a young woman standing on a beach, smiling. She was holding a small boy, maybe 4 years old. The boy was laughing. "This is us," Jung whispered. "This is me and my mother. I was 4. We went to Jeju for vacation. It was the last time I remember her being truly happy." He turned the photo over. On the back, someone had written in the old dialect. Anna translated, "My son, my heart, my reason for breathing. I'm sorry." Jung sat down on the floor. This powerful man, this crime boss who controlled half the city, sat on the dirty floor of a slum apartment and held a photograph of his dead mother. "Someone took her from me," he said quietly. "Someone faked her death and hid her here. They let her die alone in this terrible place while I thought she was already gone. Someone did this, and I'm going to find out who." Anna knelt beside him. "The woman I knew." She was kind, gentle. She taught me the old language because she said it shouldn't die. She told me stories about the sea and the wind. She made me promise that if I ever met someone from Jeju, I would speak to them in the old words. She said language is how we keep our people alive. Jung looked at her. "She sent you to me. Somehow she knew. She knew that someday you would speak those words to someone who would recognize them. She knew you would speak them to me." "I think she wanted you to find the truth," Anna said. Jung stood up. He carefully placed the photograph in his jacket pocket. "Then that's what we're going to do. You said she died 6 months ago. Where is she buried?" "Potter's Field. The unmarked graves. I couldn't afford anything else." "Take me there. Tomorrow we'll move her to a proper resting place, beside my father." He paused. "And then we're going to have a conversation with Choi. Because if my mother was alive this whole time, hiding in this place, there's only one person who could have arranged it. The same person who showed me her fake death certificate. The same person who said cremating her immediately was a mercy. The same person who has been by my side for 20 years, pretending to be loyal." He looked around the apartment one last time. "My mother lived in hell while I lived in luxury. Someone is going to pay for that. I promise you, Anna Hartley, someone is going to pay." Anna didn't go home that night. Jung wouldn't let her. "You're staying with me," he said as they left the apartment building. It wasn't a question. "Until we figure out what happened to my mother, you don't leave my sight." "I can't just disappear," Anna protested. "I have a grandmother, she needs me. She has medical appointments, medications." Jung pulled out his phone and made a call. He spoke quickly in Korean, then hung up. "Give me her address." "What? No, I'm not telling you where she lives." Jung stopped walking and turned to face her. In the dim streetlight, his tattooed neck looked like it was covered in shadows. "Listen carefully. If my mother was hidden for 20 years, then someone very powerful wanted her gone. That same person is going to want you gone the moment they find out you existed. You led me to that apartment. You gave me proof my mother was alive. That makes you dangerous." Anna felt her stomach drop. "Are you threatening me?" "I'm protecting you and your grandmother. Give me the address. My people will move her to a private medical facility tonight. Better doctors, better equipment, everything paid for. She'll be safe there." "You can't just kidnap my grandmother." "I'm not kidnapping her. I'm saving her life. And yours." Jung's voice softened slightly. "You stepped into my world the moment you spoke those words in the restaurant. You can't step back out, not until this is finished. So you have 2 choices. You can fight me and put your grandmother in danger, or you can trust me and let me keep both of you alive." Anna wanted to scream. She wanted to run. But she looked at Jung's face and saw he meant every word. This wasn't a negotiation. She gave him the address. 2 hours later, Anna stood in Jung's penthouse apartment overlooking the city. It was huge, modern, cold. Everything was black, white, or chrome. It looked like a place where no one actually lived. A woman in a dark suit approached her. "Miss Hartley, I'm Dr. Yoon. I just left your grandmother. She's been moved to Mercy Heights Medical Center. Private room, floor 6. She was confused at first, but I explained you sent us. She's resting comfortably now." Is she okay? Did you give her the evening medications? All taken care of. I've reviewed her file. We can do much more for her condition than her previous facility. Mr. Kim has authorized whatever treatment she needs. Anna felt tears sting her eyes, relief mixed with anger mixed with fear. Can I see her? Tomorrow morning, Jung said, walking into the room. He had changed clothes. No suit now, just black pants and a black t-shirt. The tattoos continued down his arms. Flowers and thorns and something that looked like waves. Tonight we work. He led her to a dining table covered in papers. Documents, photographs, files. This is everything I have on my mother's death, Jung said. The death certificate, the hospital records, the cremation papers. I need you to read them, all of them. Look for anything that doesn't make sense. Anna sat down and started reading. The death certificate said Kim Hae-jin died on March 15th, 20 years ago. Cause of death, pneumonia complicated by respiratory failure. The hospital was St. Catherine's. The attending physician was Dr. Park Min-soo. Do you remember this doctor? Anna asked. No, I never met him. Choi handled everything. He said my father was too grief-stricken to deal with the details. Anna kept reading. Something felt wrong. The handwriting on the death certificate was neat. Too neat. Like someone had copied it carefully instead of filling it out in a rush. And the hospital's stamp looked slightly smudged. This might be fake, she said quietly. Jung leaned over her shoulder. Might be. I'm not an expert, but look at this. She pointed to the stamp. The ink is uneven, like someone made a copy of a real stamp and used it. And this signature, she held the paper up to the light. There's no pen pressure. It looks printed, not written. Jung's jaw tightened. What else? Anna went through the other documents. The cremation authorization, the transfer papers. All of them had the same too perfect quality. Like they had been created by someone who knew what the forms should look like, but had never actually seen the real ones. These are forgeries, Anna said. Good ones, but forgeries. Choi did this, Jung said flatly. He faked my mother's death. He hid her in that apartment. The question is why. He pulled out another file. This one was newer. 3 days ago, before all of this, I received an anonymous message. It said, "The song of Jeju still sings in the slums." I thought it was nonsense. Some kind of threat or riddle from a rival. Now I understand. Song, that was the name my mother used. Someone was trying to tell me she was alive. Who sent it? I don't know. The message came from a burner phone. Untraceable. Jung paced the room. But someone knew. Someone wanted me to find out the truth. Anna looked at the papers spread across the table. If Choi hid your mother, he must have had a reason. What did he gain from her disappearance? Jung stopped packing. Everything. After my mother died, my father fell apart. He drank. He made bad decisions. Choi became his right hand, his advisor, the man he trusted most. And when my father actually died 5 years ago, Choi became my advisor, my second in command, the person who controls everything when I'm not around. So he used your mother's death to gain power. Yes, but there's more. My mother came from old money. Her family owned land on Jeju, fishing rights, property. When she married my father, that wealth became part of our family holdings. If she died, it passed to my father, and my father trusted Choi to manage it. Anna felt sick. He's been stealing from you for 20 years. Not just stealing, building. Choi has his own network now, his own loyal people. If I confronted him tomorrow without proof, half my organization would side with him. I'd start a war I might not win. So what do we do? Jung pulled out one more document. It was old, yellowed with age. My mother kept records, account books. She didn't trust anyone, not even my father, before she died. She was investigating some financial irregularities, money disappearing from our shipping operations. She told my father someone was stealing from him. 2 weeks later, she was dead. She found out Choi was embezzling. Yes, and he killed her for it, or tried to. Instead, he made her disappear. Maybe he thought death was too risky, too many questions. So he faked her death, hid her away, and let her rot in that apartment. Anna's hands were shaking. You need proof, real proof, not just suspicions. I know, that's why I need you. Jung sat down across from her. You're a linguist. You read old documents, old languages. My mother's account books are written in code. A mix of Korean, Chinese characters, and the old Jeju dialect. I can't read it. My people can't read it, but you can. You want me to decipher your mother's records. I want you to find proof that Choi is a thief and a traitor. Then I want you to help me destroy him. Anna looked at this dangerous man sitting across from her. 24 hours ago, she was just a waitress trying to pay her grandmother's medical bills. Now she was in a penthouse apartment, decoding secret documents for a crime boss, preparing to expose a conspiracy that had lasted 2 decades. She should run. She should call the police. She should get as far away from this world as possible. But she thought about the old woman in that apartment, the woman who taught her the old language, the woman who died alone because someone betrayed her. Show me the account books, Anna said. Jung smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just found his weapon. Welcome to the underworld, Anna Hartley. Try not to get killed. The account books led them to a fishing village 2 hours outside the city. Jung's mother had written a single line in the margin of the last page. The truth sleeps where the Hineo rest. Anna had translated it at 3 a.m, her eyes burning from staring at the coded text. The Hineo were the women divers of Jeju. They harvested seafood from the ocean floor, holding their breath for minutes at a time. Many of them had moved to the mainland decades ago, settling in small coastal communities. There's a Hineo village near here, Anna had said. Mrs. Song told me about it. She said some of the old divers still lived there, keeping the traditions alive. Now they stood at the edge of that village as dawn broke over the water. It was barely a village anymore. Just a dozen small houses, most of them empty. Fishing nets hung from wooden posts like ghosts. The smell of salt and rotting seaweed filled the air. Jung's bodyguards spread out, checking the area. Anna led Jung toward a small hut at the end of a dirt path. It was built from weathered wood and stone, sitting alone near the rocky beach. Mrs. Song said she used to come here, Anna explained. Before she got too sick, she said there was a woman who remembered the old ways, someone she trusted. As they got closer, Anna's stomach sank. The door was hanging off its hinges. The windows were smashed. Jung pulled a gun from inside his jacket. He moved forward carefully, his bodyguards flanking him. Anna stayed behind them, her heart pounding. Inside, the hut was destroyed. Furniture overturned. Shelves ripped from the walls. The floor was covered in broken dishes and torn papers. Someone had searched this place violently, desperately. Choi, Jung said quietly. He holstered his gun. Somehow he knew we'd come here. One of the bodyguards knelt by the door. Boss, blood here, not much, maybe 6, 7 hours old. Anna felt sick. The woman who lived here, is she? Probably dead, Jung said flatly. That's how Choi works, he doesn't leave witnesses. Anna walked through the wreckage, trying not to cry. Another person dead because of this. Another victim of a 20-year-old lie. They were looking for something, one of the bodyguards said. They tore this place apart. The ledger, Jung said. My mother must have hidden the original records here. The account books I have are just her notes. The real evidence must be here somewhere. Anna looked around the destroyed room. If Choi's men had been here for hours, tearing everything apart, they would have found anything obvious. Whatever Mrs. Song had hidden, it was somewhere clever. Somewhere that only someone who knew the old ways would think to look. She closed her eyes and tried to remember everything Mrs. Song had taught her. The stories about Jeju, the traditions, the way the Hineo lived. Then she remembered something. A story about how the diving women used to hide their money from their husbands. They didn't trust banks. They didn't trust hiding places in their homes, so they used the sea. Anna walked outside to the rocky beach. Jung followed her. What are you doing? He asked. The Hineo didn't keep valuables in their houses, Anna said. They kept them near the water. They had special places, holes in the rocks where they could hide things that wouldn't be found by thieves. She walked along the shoreline, examining the volcanic rocks that jutted from the sand. Most of them were solid, but she was looking for something specific, a rock with a hollow space, a hiding place that looked natural but wasn't. "Here," she said, stopping at a large black stone near the waterline. "Look at this." The rock had a crack in it, but the crack was too straight, too perfect. Anna pulled at the stone and a piece of it came away. It wasn't natural rock. It was concrete, shaped and colored to look like the volcanic stone around it. Inside was a hollow space, lined with waterproof plastic, and inside that space was a metal box. Jung reached for it, but Anna stopped him. "Wait, if Choi's smart, he might have left someone watching." Jung nodded to his bodyguards. They fanned out, scanning the area. One of them spoke into a radio. After a minute, he gave the all-clear sign. Jung pulled out the box. It was locked, but one of his men had tools. The lock broke easily. Inside were papers, dozens of them, account statements, transfer records, photographs of documents, all of them showing money moving from Jung's family operations into offshore accounts controlled by Choi. But there was more. There were photographs of people. Some of them Anna didn't recognize, but Jung did. "These are my father's old rivals," Jung said, his voice tight. "The ones who disappeared, the ones Choi said were plotting against us." He looked at another photo. "This is Lee Jinho. He was my father's oldest friend. Choi told us he betrayed the family. We had him killed for it." "Was he innocent?" Anna asked. "According to this, yes. He found out about the embezzlement. He tried to tell my father, so Choi framed him as a traitor." Jung's hands were shaking. "Choi has been murdering innocent people for 20 years, eliminating anyone who got close to the truth." At the bottom of the box was a USB drive and a handwritten letter. The letter was in the old Jeju dialect. Anna read it aloud, translating as she went. "My son, if you are reading this, then I am gone and you have found the truth. Choi Min-soo is a snake. He has been stealing from your father since the beginning. I discovered his crimes and he tried to silence me. I do not know if I will survive, but I have recorded everything. The names, the accounts, the murders, all of it is on the drive. Trust no one in the organization. Choi has bought loyalty with stolen money. He has killed good men to protect his secrets. He will try to kill you too when you confront him. Be smart, be careful. And know that I love you. I am sorry I could not protect you. Your mother, Kim Hae-jin." Jung stood there, holding his mother's letter, staring at the ocean. For a long moment he didn't speak. "Boss," one of the bodyguards said urgently, "we have to move, if Choi's people come back." "Let them come," Jung said coldly. "I want them to. I want them to report back to Choi that we found what he's been looking for. I want him to know that I know everything." He turned to Anna. "Can you read what's on this drive?" "I'll need a computer." "You'll have one. We're going back to the city, but not to my place. Choi has people everywhere. We need somewhere safe." "I know a place," Anna said. "The university library. I still have access from my graduate program. There are private study rooms in the archives. No one goes there. We can work without being seen." Jung nodded. "Good. We go there, we read everything on this drive, and then we plan how to destroy Choi." He looked at the box of evidence. "My mother spent 20 years in hiding to protect this. She died alone to keep it safe. I'm not going to waste her sacrifice." They walked back to the cars. Behind them, the fishing hut sat empty and broken, one more casualty of a war that had been going on for 2 decades. But now, finally, the war was about to end. The university library was nearly empty at 10 in the morning. Students didn't come to the archive section unless they absolutely had to. The air smelled like old books and dust. Anna led Jung and 2 of his bodyguards to a private study room in the basement. The door locked from the inside. Anna plugged the USB drive into her laptop. Her hands were shaking. Whatever was on this drive had been worth killing for, worth hiding a woman for 20 years, worth destroying lives. The drive contained hundreds of files, spreadsheets, scanned documents, audio recordings, video files. Anna opened the first spreadsheet. It was a ledger, a complete accounting of money flowing through Jung's family operations for the past 25 years. Shipping revenues, protection payments, legitimate business income, all of it carefully tracked. But there was a second column, money that disappeared, small amounts at first, a few thousand here, a few thousand there, amounts small enough that no one would notice. But over time, the amounts grew, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. This is all Choi, Jung said, reading over her shoulder. He's been skimming since before my mother died, since my father was still in charge. Anna opened another file. This one showed how Choi moved the money. He would report false expenses, bribes that were never paid, equipment that was never bought, shipments that never arrived. He created ghost employees and paid them salaries that went straight into his own accounts. But the worst part was how he covered his tracks. Whenever someone got close to discovering the truth, Choi didn't just steal from them, he framed them. Anna found a file labeled Lee Jinho. It contained fabricated evidence showing Lee had been working with the police, fake phone records, fake meeting notes, fake photographs, all of it created by Choi to make Lee look like a traitor. My father ordered Lee killed based on this evidence, Jung said quietly. Lee was his best friend, they grew up together, and Choi made my father murder him. There were more files like that, 6 other men who had been framed and killed. All of them had discovered pieces of Choi's scheme. All of them had tried to tell Jung's father the truth, and all of them had died because of it. Your father, Anna said carefully, did he die of natural causes? Jung's face went dark. Heart attack, that's what the doctors said. He was eating dinner, started having chest pains, collapsed, dead before the ambulance arrived. Anna opened a file labeled Kim T1, Jung's father's name. Inside was a medical report, not an official one. This looked like notes from a private investigation. Notes written by Jung's mother. Your mother suspected something, Anna said. She had someone test your father's blood after he died. Look at this. The report showed elevated levels of digoxin, a heart medication. In small doses, it treated heart problems. In larger doses, it caused heart attacks that looked natural. Choi poisoned him, Jung said. His voice was completely flat, emotionless, but Anna could see his hands curling into fists. He poisoned my father, slowly, over months, making it look like his heart was failing naturally. Anna found another file, a timeline. It showed how Choi had positioned himself perfectly. He convinced Jung's father to make him the executor of the estate. He convinced Jung's father to give him signing authority over the accounts. He convinced Jung's father to trust him completely. And then he killed him. After your father died, Choi became your advisor, Anna said. He controlled everything while you were learning the business. He had 5 years of complete access to all the family assets. Jung pulled out his phone and opened his banking app. He checked several accounts. His face went pale. The offshore investments, he said. Choi told me we had 50 million in diversified holdings, shipping ventures, real estate, technology startups. He shows me quarterly reports. Everything looks profitable. Let me see the statements, Anna said. Jung showed her his phone. Anna compared the statements to the files on the USB drive. The numbers didn't match, not even close. These statements are fake, Anna said. According to your mother's records, those offshore accounts were emptied 3 years ago. The money was moved to accounts in Choi's name. You don't have 50 million in investments. You have nothing. Jung stood up and walked to the window. He stared out at the campus, his jaw working. How much has he stolen total? He asked. Anna did the math. She checked the spreadsheets 3 times to make sure. When she was certain, she told him. Over the past 25 years, Choi has stolen approximately $230 million from your family. Jung didn't react. He just kept staring out the window. There's more, Anna said quietly. He's not just stealing from you. He's positioning himself to take over completely. Look at this file. She opened a document that showed Choi's network, the people he had bought, the people he had placed in key positions throughout Jung's organization. Accountants, lawyers, warehouse managers, security chiefs, even some of Jung's own bodyguards. He owns 40% of your operation, Anna said. These people all report to him first, you second. If you tried to move against him right now, they would side with him. So I can't touch him, Jung said. Not yet, not without more proof, and not without turning his own people against him. Anna scrolled through more files. But your mother knew this would happen. She left us something else. She opened an audio file. It was a recording of a conversation. The voices were clear. One of them was Choi. The other was a man Anna didn't recognize. In the recording, Choi was explaining his plan. How he would slowly poison Jung's father. How he would frame anyone who got too close to the truth. How he would eventually take over the entire organization. How Jung was too young, too inexperienced, too trusting to see what was happening. That recording is 20 years old, Jung said. Choi planned this from the beginning, before my mother died. Before my father died, he planned to take everything. Anna found more recordings. Conversations between Choi and corrupt police officers. Conversations where Choi ordered murders. Conversations where he laughed about how easy it was to manipulate Jung's family. In one recording, Choi called Jung's father a stupid old man who can't see a knife until it's in his back. In another, he called Jung a naive child playing at being a boss. And in the worst one, he talked about Jung's mother, about how she had been handled, about how hiding her alive was better than killing her because the dead sometimes leave evidence, but the disappeared leave nothing. He's not just a thief, Anna said. He's been treating your entire family like we're beneath him, like you're all just tools he can use and throw away. Jung turned from the window. His face was calm, but his eyes were like ice. Play that last recording again, he said. Anna played it. Choi's voice filled the small room, arrogant and cruel, talking about how Jung would never be smart enough to figure out the truth. When it finished, Jung smiled. It was the most terrifying smile Anna had ever seen. Choi thinks I'm stupid, Jung said quietly. He thinks I'm beneath him. He thinks he can steal everything my family built and I'll never know. He's been treating me like a child for 5 years, patting me on the head while he robs me blind. He looked at Anna. We're going to show him exactly how wrong he is. We're going to take every piece of evidence my mother left us and we're going to destroy him with it. Not quickly, slowly. I want him to know what's coming. I want him to feel the knife before it goes in his back. Anna thought about Mrs. Song, dying alone in that apartment. She thought about Jung's father, poisoned over months. She thought about all the innocent people Choi had murdered to protect his secrets. What do we do first? She asked. We make copies of everything, multiple copies. We hide them in different places. Then we start turning his people against him, and then we set a trap. They spent 3 days making copies of everything. Anna uploaded files to encrypted cloud servers. Jung's most trusted bodyguard, a man named Sung who had known Jung since childhood, stored physical copies in 3 different safe deposit boxes across the city. They were careful, methodical, making sure that even if Choi destroyed 1 copy, 5 others would survive. On the 4th day, everything went wrong. Jung received a message on his private phone, the one only his inner circle knew about. The message said, "Your mother is still alive. Meet me at the old D1 shipyard. Midnight. Come alone or she dies." Anna read the message over Jung's shoulder. It's a trap. Obviously. Jung said, but what if it's not? Your mother is dead. We saw the apartment. We found her things. This is Choi trying to lure you out. Jung stared at the message. My mother was supposed to be dead 20 years ago, and she wasn't. What if Choi kept her alive? What if he's been holding her somewhere all this time? Jung, listen to yourself. You're thinking with your heart, not your head. That's exactly what Choi wants. But Anna could see the hope in Jung's eyes. The desperate, irrational hope that maybe, somehow, his mother was still breathing. That he could save her this time. I have to go, Jung said. Even if there's a 1% chance she's alive, I have to go. Then I'm coming with you. No, absolutely not. Anna grabbed the USB drive from the table. This is the only leverage we have. If Choi gets his hands on it, everything your mother died for is gone. You need someone who can run if things go bad. Someone he won't expect. Someone invisible. Jung looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. You stay in the car. If shooting starts, you drive away. You don't try to help. You don't try to be a hero. You run and you don't stop running until you're somewhere safe. Understood. Understood. They left at 11:30. Sung drove. 2 other bodyguards followed in a second car. The D1 shipyard had been abandoned for 5 years. It sat on the edge of the harbor, a massive graveyard of rusting metal and broken cranes. At night, it was completely dark. No lights, no security, just shadows and the sound of water lapping against old concrete. They parked 100 yards from the main building. Jung checked his gun. Sung and the other bodyguards did the same. "Something's wrong," Sung said quietly. "This feels wrong, boss." "I know," Jung said, "but we're already here." He turned to Anna. "Stay in the car, doors locked, engine running. If we're not back in 15 minutes, you leave." Anna nodded, clutching the USB drive in her pocket. Jung and his men walked toward the shipyard. Anna watched them disappear into the darkness. Her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it. She checked the time. 11:55. At exactly midnight, the shooting started. Muzzle flashes lit up the darkness like lightning. The sound was deafening. Anna saw Jung and his men dive behind a shipping container. Then she saw them. Dozens of men, maybe 40 or 50, all of them armed, all of them surrounding Jung's position. This wasn't a trap. It was an execution. Anna saw Jung fighting back, firing at the men closing in on him. Sung went down, clutching his leg. One of the other bodyguards fell and didn't get up. Then the car doors opened. Anna screamed as hands grabbed her. She tried to fight, but there were too many of them. They dragged her out of the car and threw her on the ground. Someone ripped her pockets open and found the USB drive. "Got it," the man shouted. They hauled Anna to her feet and dragged her toward the shipyard. She could see Jung now. He was on his knees, surrounded by armed men. Blood ran down the side of his face. His gun was gone. Sung was next to him, barely conscious. And standing in front of them was Choi. He was smaller than Anna expected. Thin, wearing an expensive suit that looked wrong in this place of rust and decay. He was smiling. "Jung," Choi said pleasantly, "thank you for coming, and thank you for bringing the evidence. That was very thoughtful of you." Jung spat blood. "You killed my mother." "I kept your mother alive for 15 years, Choi corrected. "She was surprisingly resilient, kept refusing to eat, kept trying to escape. Very annoying. Eventually, her heart just gave out. Natural causes, really." "You're dead," Jung said. "I'm going to kill you." Choi laughed. "With what? Your organization. Half of them work for me now. Your money. I've been stealing it for 25 years. Your reputation. After tonight, everyone will think you died in a tragic accident. A fire at the shipyard. Very sad." He nodded to one of his men, who pressed a gun against Jung's head. "Wait," Anna said. Her voice came out as a croak. Choi looked at her like he was noticing an insect. "The waitress, the linguist, you've been very helpful, Miss Hartley, but you're also a loose end." "The drive," Anna said quickly. "That's not the only copy. We made backups, dozens of them. If you kill us, they'll be sent to the police, to the FBI, to every news organization in the country." Choi studied her face. "You're lying." "Try me. Kill us and find out." For a moment, Choi hesitated. Then he smiled again. "Nice try, but I don't believe you. Jung is too proud to involve outsiders. He would handle this himself. That's always been his weakness. Too much honor." He nodded to the gunman again. Jung looked at Anna. Their eyes met across the darkness. And in that moment, Anna saw him make a decision. Jung suddenly lunged sideways, slamming into the man holding Anna. The man stumbled and Anna broke free. Jung shouted, his voice raw with desperation. "Run! Take the drive and run!" Gunfire erupted again. Jung was fighting 3 men at once, giving Anna precious seconds. She didn't think, she just ran. Behind her, she heard Jung screaming, "Don't let her leave, kill her." But Anna was fast, faster than they expected. She dodged between shipping containers, her lungs burning. Bullets sparked off metal around her. She could hear boots pounding behind her. She reached the edge of the shipyard and kept running. Into the streets. into the darkness, running until her legs gave out and she collapsed in an alley 3 blocks away. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands. No calls, no messages. Jung was gone, captured or dead. And she was alone, with the only evidence that could destroy Choi. The USB drive felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds in her pocket. Anna hid in the alley for 10 minutes, trying to control her breathing. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She kept seeing Jung on his knees, blood on his face, buying her time to escape. She had to assume he was dead. She had to assume Sung was dead. She had to assume Choi's men were already searching for her. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Miss Hartley." The voice was unfamiliar, male, older. "My name is Detective Park. I worked with Jung's mother 20 years ago. She came to me when she discovered Choi's crimes. I tried to help her, but I was too late. I'm the one who sent Jung the message about the Song of Jeju. I've been waiting for someone to find the truth." "How did you get this number?" "Jung's mother gave it to me. She predicted all of this. She knew someday someone would need help. Are you safe?" "No, Choi's men are looking for me." "Do you have the evidence?" Anna touched the USB drive in her pocket. "Yes." "Good, listen carefully. Choi owns half the police in this city. You can't go to any station. You can't trust anyone in uniform. But in 48 hours, there's a meeting. The Council of Elders. All the major crime families gather to settle disputes. If you can get the evidence to that meeting, if you can expose Choi in front of the other bosses, they'll turn on him. It's the only way." "How do I survive for 48 hours?" "You disappear. You use every skill you have, and you trust no one." The line went dead. Anna stood up on shaky legs. She couldn't go home. Choi would have men there. She couldn't go to her grandmother. They'd be watching the hospital. She couldn't use her credit cards or access her bank account. Every digital footprint would give away her location. She had to become invisible. Anna walked out of the alley and onto the street. It was 1 a.m. The neighborhood was quiet. She saw a 24-hour convenience store and went inside. The clerk was Korean, watching a drama on his phone. Anna spoke to him in Korean, not the standard dialect. The Gyeongsang dialect from the southeastern provinces, the dialect her professor had taught her in graduate school. The clerk looked up, surprised. People didn't speak that dialect in the city. "You're from Busan?" he asked in the same dialect. "My grandmother was," Anna lied smoothly. "I'm trying to get home, but someone stole my purse. Can I use your bathroom?" The clerk's face softened. Regional loyalty ran deep. "Of course, in the back." Anna went to the bathroom and looked at herself in the mirror. Her hair was distinctive, red, easy to spot. She needed to change it. She came out and bought hair dye, cheap clothes, scissors, and a hat. The clerk let her change in the bathroom. When she emerged 20 minutes later, her hair was black and cut short. She wore a plain hoodie and jeans. She looked like 1,000 other young women in the city. The clerk barely recognized her. "Very different," he said, impressed. Anna thanked him and left. She walked for an hour, putting distance between herself and the shipyard. She needed shelter. Somewhere Choi's men wouldn't think to look. She found herself in the Ethiopian district, small restaurants and shops with signs in Amharic. Anna had studied the language briefly in college. She wasn't fluent, but she knew enough. She went into an all-night cafe. The owner was an older woman standing behind the counter. Anna greeted her in Amharic. The woman's face lit up. "You speak Amharic?" "A little," Anna said. "I studied it in school. I love the language." They talked for a few minutes. Anna explained she was a student doing research, that she'd missed her last bus home. The woman, whose name was Selam, offered her a couch in the back room. "Students help students," she said kindly. Anna slept for 3 hours, waking at every sound. At dawn, she thanked Selam and moved on. She couldn't stay anywhere too long. She spent the day ghosting through the city's ethnic neighborhoods. In Koreatown, she spoke the Jeolla dialect and posed as a college student from Gwangju. In the Chinese district, she used her Mandarin to blend in at a tea house, claiming to be visiting from Taiwan. In Little Manila, She used the few Tagalog phrases she knew to get directions, pretending to be lost. Each time, she relied on the same principle. People trusted you when you spoke their language. Not tourist phrases, but real language, dialects, regional expressions. The words that said, "I'm one of you." By evening, she'd crossed the city 3 times. She'd changed clothes twice more. She'd eaten at 5 different restaurants, paying cash, never staying long enough to be remembered. But Choi's net was closing. She saw his men twice, once in a subway station showing her photo to people, once outside a convenience store checking cars. They were organized, systematic, covering the city in grids. Anna needed information. She needed to know if Jung was alive. She needed to know where the council meeting would be held. She went to the university library. Her student ID still worked. She logged onto a computer using a VPN and searched for news about the shipyard. Nothing yet. Either Jung was alive and Choi was keeping it quiet, or the bodies hadn't been found. She checked encrypted message boards used by the criminal underworld. There were rumors, talk about a problem at the docks, mention of Choi consolidating power, but nothing about Jung. Then she saw a post that made her blood run cold. Red-haired translator, $100,000 reward, alive only. Choi wants to ask her questions personally. They were offering money, a lot of money. Every criminal in the city would be looking for her now. Anna cleared her browser history and left the library. It was getting dark again. 24 hours down, 24 to go. She spent the second night in a Russian bathhouse in Brighton Beach. She spoke enough Russian to convince the attendant she was an exchange student. The steam room was warm and safe, and no one asked questions. On the second day, she moved faster. Vietnamese district, Polish district, Greek district, each time using language as camouflage, each time staying just ahead of the search. But she was exhausted. She hadn't really slept in 2 days. Her feet were blistered, her body ached, and she still didn't know where the council meeting was happening. Then her phone buzzed. Detective Park again. "The meeting is tomorrow night, 9 p.m. The Old Harmony Hotel downtown. Top floor. You need to get inside. Security will be heavy. Every boss will bring guards." "How do I get past security?" "There will be servers, catering staff. I can get you a uniform. There's a dry cleaner on 5th and Main. Ask for Mr. Kim. Tell him Detective Park sent you. He'll have everything you need." "What about Jung? Is he alive?" A long pause. "I don't know. Choi hasn't made any announcements. That's either very good or very bad." The line went dead again. Anna made her way to 5th and Main. The dry cleaner was small, tucked between a nail salon and a phone repair shop. She went inside and asked for Mr. Kim. The old man looked at her carefully. "Detective Park sent you." "Yes." He disappeared into the back and returned with a bag. Inside was a server's uniform. Black pants, white shirt, black vest, and an ID badge that would get her into the Harmony Hotel. "Be careful," Mr. Kim said quietly. "Choi has killed many people. Don't become another one." Anna took the uniform and left. Tomorrow night, she would walk into a room full of crime bosses and expose Choi's betrayal. If she lived that long. Anna spent her last day of freedom in a hostel near the docks, paying cash for a bed in a shared room. She barely slept. Every time footsteps passed in the hallway, she tensed, ready to run. At dawn, she pulled out the USB drive and stared at it. She'd been so focused on surviving that she hadn't looked closely at all the files. But now, with hours to kill before the council meeting, she borrowed a laptop from the hostel's common area and started reading through everything again. Most of it she'd already seen. The financial records, the audio recordings, the photographs, but there was one file she'd skipped over. It was labeled map, but when she opened it, it wasn't a map at all. It was a document filled with what looked like nonsense. Random sentences in the Jeju dialect. Proverbs and sayings mixed together with numbers and dates. At first, Anna thought it was corrupted, but then she recognized one of the proverbs. "The stone that stays still gathers moss." It was something Mrs. Song had taught her, but the way it was written was wrong. The grammar was deliberately broken. Words were in the wrong order. Anna grabbed a pen and paper. She started writing out the proverbs, then rearranging them into proper grammar. When she did, something emerged. The first letter of each corrected word spelled out something new. She worked faster. Her hands were shaking with excitement. This wasn't just a document. It was a code, a linguistic cipher based on Jeju proverbs. Only someone who knew the language intimately would even recognize it as code. To everyone else, it would look like an old woman's random notes. After an hour of work, Anna had decoded the first section. It was a list of names. People Choi had bribed, police officers, judges, politicians, city council members, but these weren't the names she'd already seen in the other files. These were bigger, more powerful. She kept decoding. The second section was a timeline, not of past crimes, of future plans. Her blood went cold as she read. Choi wasn't just planning to take over Jung's organization. He was planning to take over everything. He'd been secretly meeting with the heads of 3 other crime families, offering them deals, territories, money, all in exchange for one thing, their support when he made his move against the Council of Elders itself. According to the timeline, Choi planned to use tonight's meeting to eliminate his rivals. Not just Jung, all of them. He'd planted bombs in the Harmony Hotel, timed to detonate at exactly 10 p.m. He would excuse himself before the explosion, claiming a phone call. And when the dust settled, he would be the only boss left standing. Then he would step in with his allies and take control of the entire city's criminal network, not as one boss among many, as the only boss, absolute power. Anna's hands were shaking so hard she could barely hold the pen. This wasn't just about exposing Choi's theft. This was about stopping a massacre. She decoded the final section. It contained 3 addresses, 3 locations where Choi had stockpiled weapons, money, and forged documents. Everything he needed to disappear if his plan failed. Safe houses where he could hide until things cooled down. But there was something else. A note at the end, written in Mrs. Song's handwriting, not in code this time, just plain Jeju dialect. My son, if you are reading this, you have learned the truth, but truth is not enough. Choi has planned for exposure. He has planned for resistance. He has even planned for his own death. The only thing he has not planned for is someone who knows his mind completely. Someone who can predict his moves before he makes them. I have spent 20 years studying him, learning his patterns, understanding how he thinks. In this document, I have given you his entire strategy. Not just what he has done, but what he will do. Use it wisely. Trust the translator. She is the key to everything, your mother. Anna sat back, stunned. Mrs. Song had known. Somehow, she had known that Anna would be the one to decode this, that Anna would be the one to stop Choi. She checked the time. 4 p.m. 5 hours until the council meeting. 5 hours until Choi tried to kill everyone in that room. She had to warn them, but she couldn't just call the police. Choi owned the police. She couldn't call the FBI. That would take too long. By the time they believed her, investigated, got warrants, everyone would be dead. No. She had to do this herself. She had to get into that meeting and expose Choi before 10 p.m., before the bombs went off. Anna copied all the decoded information onto a separate file. She made 3 USB drives. One she would carry. One she would hide in the hostel. One she would mail to Detective Park's address with instructions to open it if she didn't contact him by tomorrow. Then she put on the server's uniform Mr. Kim had given her. Black pants, white shirt, black vest. She looked at herself in the mirror. She didn't look like a waitress anymore. She didn't look like a graduate student. She looked like someone on a mission. She thought about Jung. Was he still alive? Was he locked in some basement, beaten and broken? Or had Choi already killed him? She thought about Mrs. Song, dying alone in that apartment, spending her last years creating this code, leaving breadcrumbs for someone to follow, believing that someday someone would care enough to find the truth. She thought about all the people Choi had murdered, Jung's father, Lee Jin-ho and the other innocent men, the woman in the fishing village, how many others over 25 years. Anna picked up the USB drive and put it in her pocket. She had spent her whole life hiding, being invisible, afraid that her passion for dead languages made her weird, made her an outcast. She'd worked dead-end jobs because she didn't think she belonged anywhere else. But Mrs. Song had believed in her, had trusted her with the most important secret of her life, had called her the key to everything. Anna wasn't going to let her down. She left the hostel and headed for the Harmony Hotel. The sun was setting. The city lights were coming on. Somewhere out there, Choi was preparing for his victory, confident that he'd won, confident that no one could stop him. He was wrong. A simple waitress with a gift for languages was about to ruin everything. The Harmony Hotel rose 30 stories above the downtown streets. It had been built in the 1920s, back when the city's old money threw parties that lasted for days. Now it was faded elegance, cracked marble, tarnished gold fixtures, the kind of place that looked respectable from a distance but showed its age up close. Anna entered through the service entrance at 8:30. She showed her fake ID to the security guard. He barely glanced at it before waving her through. To him, she was just another server, invisible. The catering manager was a stressed woman in her 50s who thrust a tray into Anna's hands the moment she walked into the kitchen. "You're late. Top floor. Penthouse suite. Keep the glasses full and don't make eye contact with anyone. These people don't like to be looked at." Anna nodded and headed for the service elevator. 2 other servers joined her. They didn't speak. The elevator climbed slowly, groaning with age. Anna's heart was pounding so hard she thought everyone could hear it. The penthouse floor was guarded. 4 men in black suits stood outside the main doors. They checked Anna's ID again, patted her down, found nothing. The USB drive was taped to her lower back, hidden under her vest. They missed it. Inside, the penthouse was exactly what Anna expected. Dark wood panels, leather furniture, cigar smoke hanging in the air like fog, and men, dozens of them, the most dangerous men in the city, all gathered in one room. The Council of Elders sat at a long table in the center. 5 old men who controlled everything. Drugs, weapons, gambling, prostitution. They looked like grandfathers, harmless, but Anna knew better. These men had built empires on blood. Around them stood their lieutenants and advisors, younger men, harder men, all of them armed. Anna counted at least 40 people in the room. If the bombs went off at 10 p.m., they would all die. And standing near the head of the table, looking calm and confident, was Choi. He wore an expensive suit. His hair was perfect. He smiled as he talked to one of the elders, gesturing smoothly with his hands. He looked nothing like a mass murderer. He looked like a successful businessman. Anna moved along the wall, refilling drinks. She kept her head down, invisible, just another server. At 9:15, the meeting began. The eldest council member, a man named Mr. H. Wang, called for order. Everyone sat except the guards and servers. "We are here to discuss a serious matter," Mr. H. Wang said in Korean. "Kim Young has been accused of mismanaging his father's legacy, of losing money, of making reckless decisions that endanger us all. Choi Min-soo has brought evidence of these failures and has requested that Young be removed from his position." Murmurs around the room. Anna's hands tightened on her tray. So this was Choi's play. Frame Young as incompetent, take over his organization with the council's blessing. "Where is Young?" another elder asked. "He should be here to defend himself." Choi stepped forward. "Young has disappeared. 3 days ago, he went to the old shipyard and never returned. I believe he knew his crimes would be exposed. He ran rather than face justice." Lies, all lies, Anna wanted to scream, but she stayed still, waiting. Choi presented his evidence. Forged documents showing Young making bad investments. Fake testimony from people claiming Young was unstable. Photographs of Young at the shipyard, made to look like he was meeting with police informants. The elders listened. Some nodded. They were believing him. At 9:45, Mr. H. Wang spoke again. "Based on this evidence, we see no choice but to remove Young from his position. Choi Min-soo has served loyally for 25 years. We propose that he take control of the Kim family operations. All in favor." 4 hands went up. Only one elder, an old man named Mr. Park, kept his hand down. "This is wrong," Mr. Park said quietly. "Jung deserves to speak for himself." "Jung is gone," Choi said smoothly. "We cannot wait forever." Mr. H. Wang checked his watch. 9:50. "Very well, Choi Min-soo, you are now." "Wait," Anna's voice cut through the room. Every head turned. 40 pairs of eyes locked onto her. The guards' hands moved toward their guns. Anna stepped forward, her legs shaking. "I have evidence, real evidence, not the lies Choi just told you." Choi's face went pale, then red. "Who let this woman in here? Remove her, now." 2 guards moved toward Anna. She pulled out the USB drive and held it up. "This contains 25 years of financial records. It proves Choi has been stealing from Jung's family. It proves he faked Jung's mother's death. It proves he poisoned Jung's father. And it proves he's planning to kill all of you in exactly 7 minutes." The room exploded, everyone talking at once. The guards stopped moving. "She's lying," Choi shouted. "She's Jung's whore. He sent her to disrupt this meeting." "Then let's see what's on the drive," Mr. Park said calmly. Mr. H. Wang nodded. "Bring a laptop." One of the guards brought a computer. Anna plugged in the drive with trembling hands. She opened the first file. The financial records. The numbers spoke for themselves. $230 million stolen over 25 years. The elders leaned forward, reading. Their faces hardened. Anna opened the next file, the audio recording. Choi's voice filled the room, talking about poisoning Jung's father, about hiding Jung's mother, about how easy it was to manipulate stupid old men. Choi lunged for the laptop. 3 guards grabbed him and slammed him against the wall. "There's more," Anna said. Her voice was stronger now. "He's planted bombs in this building, set to go off at 10 p.m. He planned to leave before the explosion and take over after you were all dead." Mr. H. Wang checked his watch. 9:58. "Search the building," he barked. "Now." Guards scattered. Anna opened the decoded file and showed them the exact locations where Mrs. Song's note said the bombs would be. Basement. 3rd floor mechanical room. Penthouse air conditioning unit. At 9:59, a guard's voice crackled over the radio. "Found one. Basement. It's real. Timer shows 1 minute." "Evacuate," Mr. H. Wang roared. The room erupted into chaos. Men running for the exits. Guards dragging the elders toward the stairs. Anna stood frozen until someone grabbed her arm and pulled her along. They made it to the ground floor with seconds to spare. The building shook. Windows shattered. But the bombs were small, designed to kill people in specific rooms, not bring down the whole structure. The bomb squad found and disabled 2 of them. The 3rd went off in an empty mechanical room. Outside on the street, the elders regrouped. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Choi was on his knees, zip-tied, surrounded by guards. Mr. H. Wang walked up to Anna. "Who are you?" "Anna Hartley. I was Jung's translator." "Where is Jung?" "Choi took him 3 days ago at the shipyard. I don't know if he's alive." Mr. Park pulled out his phone and made a call. He spoke rapidly in Korean, then hung up. "My people are searching Choi's properties now. If Jung is alive, we'll find him." Mr. H. Wang looked at Choi with disgust. 25 years, you stood beside us, ate at our tables, and all that time you were planning to murder us. Choi said nothing. His face was blank. "Take him to the warehouse," Mr. H. Wang said quietly. "Let him think about what he's done. We'll deal with him properly tomorrow." The guards dragged Choi away. He didn't struggle, didn't speak. He just stared at Anna with pure hatred in his eyes. Anna watched him go. She'd done it. She'd exposed him. She'd saved the council. But Jung was still missing. Mr. Park's phone rang. He answered, listened, then smiled. "They found him, locked in a shipping container at Choi's warehouse. Beaten badly, but alive. He's asking for you." Anna felt tears streaming down her face. She didn't remember starting to cry. "Can I see him?" "I'll take you myself," Mr. Park said kindly. "You saved a lot of lives tonight, Miss Hartley. Jung chose his translator well." As they walked to the car, Anna thought about Mrs. Song's final words. Trust the translator. She is the key to everything. The old woman had been right. A simple waitress who loved dead languages had just brought down an empire built on lies. Choi had thought she was beneath him, thought she was invisible, thought she didn't matter. He was wrong. They found Young in a shipping container at the edge of the city. The door was padlocked from the outside. No food, no water. He'd been there for 3 days. When the guards cut the lock and pulled the door open, Young stumbled out into the light. His face was bruised purple and yellow. His lip was split. His left eye was swollen shut, but he was alive. Anna ran to him. He caught her in his arms and held on like she was the only solid thing in a spinning world. You did it, he whispered. His voice was rough from dehydration. Sung told me before they separated us. You got away with the evidence. You actually did it. Sung is alive. In the hospital, bullet in the leg, but he'll recover. Young pulled back to look at her. Choi. Arrested. The council has him. They found the bombs exactly where your mother said they'd be. Young closed his eyes. Relief washed over his battered face. Then something else, grief. My mother, she saved us, even after all these years, even after everything Choi did to her. She loved you, Anna said softly. Everything she did was to protect you. Mr. Park drove them to the hospital. Young refused treatment until he'd seen Sung. They found him in a private room on the 4th floor, leg in a cast, but grinning when Young walked in. Boss, Sung said, you look terrible. You look worse, Young replied. They clasped hands, brothers who'd survived hell together. The doctors forced Young into a room after that, treated his injuries, IV fluids, pain medication, X-rays to check for broken ribs. Anna sat in a chair beside his bed and didn't leave. At dawn, Mr. H. Wang arrived with the other elders. They stood around Young's hospital bed like judges at a trial. Young, Mr. H. Wang said formally, we have reviewed the evidence, all of it. Choi's crimes are proven beyond doubt. We have also reviewed your leadership. Despite Choi's sabotage, you have maintained stability, honored agreements, showed wisdom beyond your years. He paused. We are reinstating you with full authority. Choi's assets will be seized and returned to you. His network will be dismantled. The people he corrupted will be dealt with. What about Choi? Young asked. He has been judged, Mr. H. Wang said simply. By dawn tomorrow, he will no longer be a problem. Young nodded. In this world, some sentences didn't need to be spoken aloud. The elders left. Young stared at the ceiling for a long time. I could walk away, he said quietly. Sell everything, disappear, start over somewhere clean. Why don't you? Anna asked. Because these people, this organization, it's not all bad. There are families who depend on the jobs we provide. Legitimate businesses mixed in with the criminal ones. If I abandon it, someone worse than Choi will take over. Someone who doesn't care about limits or rules. He looked at her. But I can change things, make them better. My father built this empire on fear. Choi tried to steal it with betrayal. Maybe I can build something different, something that actually helps the community instead of just bleeding it dry. Over the next 3 months, Young did exactly that. He cut ties with the drug trade entirely, shut down the human trafficking operations, focused on the legitimate businesses, shipping, real estate, restaurants. The criminal elements that remained were managed with strict rules. No violence against civilians, no exploitation of the vulnerable, no corruption of children. The elders watched skeptically at first, but profits stayed stable. Territories remained peaceful. Young proved you could run an organization with honor and still survive. He moved his mother's remains to a proper grave beside his father. The headstone was simple. Kim Hae-jin, beloved mother, the truth never dies. Anna attended the funeral. It was small. Just Young, Sung, a few trusted people, and a priest who spoke the old Jeju dialect. Young had insisted on that. His mother's final ceremony would be in the language she'd fought so hard to preserve. After the funeral, Young asked Anna to take a drive with him. They pulled up in front of Maple and Stone, the restaurant where this had all started. I bought it, Jung said. The building, the whole block, actually. Anna looked at him confused. Why? Because this is where you saved my life, where you spoke the words that changed everything. He handed her a folder. I'm signing it over to you, not as a gift, as an investment. I want you to turn it into something that matters. Anna opened the folder. Inside were architectural plans. The restaurant would be gutted and rebuilt. In its place, the Kim Hae-jin Center for Linguistic Preservation, a place dedicated to saving endangered languages, teaching them, recording them, keeping them alive for future generations. Jung, I can't accept this. It's too much. It's not enough, Jung said firmly. My mother spent 20 years in hiding because she knew the truth. You spent 3 days running for your life because you believed in that truth. This center will make sure other languages don't die the way the Jeju dialect almost did. It will make sure people like my mother aren't forgotten. He pulled out another document. I'm funding it completely. Staff salaries, equipment, programs, scholarships for students who want to study endangered languages. You'll run it, build whatever you want, teach whoever needs teaching. Anna felt tears on her cheeks. Your mother would be proud. I hope so, Jung said quietly. I spent most of my life thinking she abandoned me. Now I know she never stopped fighting for me. This is how I fight for her, by preserving what she loved. The center opened 6 months later. Anna hired linguists from around the world. They created programs to document dying languages, brought in native speakers to teach, built a digital archive that would outlast them all. On opening day, hundreds of people came. Students, professors, immigrants who wanted their children to learn their ancestral tongues. The mayor gave a speech about cultural preservation. News cameras filmed everything. Jung stood in the back, watching. He didn't want attention, didn't want credit. He just wanted to see his mother's legacy honored. Anna found him there as the ceremony ended. Thank you, she said, for all of this. Thank you, Jung replied, for being brave enough to step in front of a monster, for being smart enough to decode my mother's secrets, for being stubborn enough to survive 3 days alone with half the city hunting you. He smiled. It was a real smile this time, not the cold smile of a crime boss, the warm smile of a man who'd found peace. You know what the funny thing is? Jung said. Choi spent 25 years building power, stealing, murdering, manipulating, and in the end he was brought down by a waitress who loved dead languages. He thought people like you didn't matter, thought you were beneath him. People always underestimate the quiet ones, Anna said. They do, and that's their mistake. Anna looked at the center, at the people streaming through its doors, at the languages being saved from extinction, at the legacy of a woman who died alone but would never be forgotten. She thought about how far she'd come, from a broke graduate student hiding her intelligence to the director of a world-class research center, from invisible to essential. Your mother told me something once, Anna said. She said language is how we keep our people alive. Even after they're gone, their words remain, their stories remain, and as long as someone remembers to speak them, they never truly die. Jung nodded. Then let's make sure they're never silent again. Inside the center, a class was starting. An elderly Korean woman teaching the Jeju dialect to a room full of eager students. Her voice carried through the halls, strong and clear, speaking words that had almost been lost forever. The words lived, the truth lived, and Kim Hae-jin's sacrifice had not been in vain. Sometimes the most powerful weapon in the world isn't money or violence or fear. Sometimes it's just a kind heart, a sharp mind, and the courage to speak up when everyone else stays silent. Anna had proved that, and she would spend the rest of her life making sure others could do the same.